Our next speaker is a lawyer, an art dealer, a soldier, and a horse lover. Janey McGill is going to share with us a tale of hardship and friendship along the coast of this island. This is the only journey here in the UK that you're going to hear about this evening. She walked the 630 miles of the southwest coast path with a pocket full of seeds. And I'll introduce her to the stage to share that story with us now.
Hello, everybody. So let me begin by explaining why I undertook this expedition. And it goes back about 10 years when I was studying to be a lawyer, and I found the Army Legal Service. And for me, the penny really dropped. It was something that ticked all the boxes for me. It offered the lifestyle that I wanted. It offered me the opportunity to serve and to also play my role in Afghanistan. So I joined the reserves, the Honourable Artillery Company, and that's when I knew I loved it. I was on the right path, and I felt like it was my calling. However, as they say, no plan survives contact with the enemy. The recession hit, the Army Legal Service were no longer recruiting, and then the final nail in the coffin, and quite literally the final nail in the coffin, nearly, I broke my back riding racehorses. So I spent a couple of years rehabilitating, and over that time, and as time went on, cracks started to appear, and I became quite overwhelmed with guilt and loss for not having been able to serve. So I wanted to fill that gap, and I wanted to say my personal thanks to the people that did. So I decided, as Marianne said, to walk the 630-mile southwest coast path. And to put that into context, it's 5.5 times around the M25, and the equivalent climb of 4 Mount Everests. So it was a good, chunky challenge, which sort of was testing, punishing, all of the things that perhaps the soldiers would have been through in Afghanistan. So I did a bit of research into the statistics of Afghanistan, and it turned out that there were 616 severely wounded servicemen. I put 615 because, sadly, when I was walking, one of those men had died from injuries he had sustained 3 years prior. And the sunflower seed was a symbol. It was a symbol of happiness, of warmth, energy, hope, and life. And so that was it. Sunflowers for Soldiers was born. So who? I was trawling the internet, YouTube, and I came across Lance Corporal J. Hare, Royal Marine. And he was talking at the World Horse Welfare Conference about what horses had done for him. Now, this man had had his face degloved. He didn't have a nose, and there was footage of him saying, "Have I still got my tongue?" And as well as losing a leg and a couple of digits. So he'd really been through the wars and was very angry, and he found this charity called Horseback UK, which rehabilitated soldiers and servicemen with the use of horse therapy. Mentally and physically wounded soldiers could benefit from this. So that was it. The pieces of the puzzle were certainly fitting together for me. You know, horses had sort of finished my military career as I wanted it, and yet here they were, sort of helping the guys that had gone out and been injured. So who went? As soon as I told my family, my dad and his partner Katie put their hand up, said, "We're in, we'll carry your bags." Brilliant. So I thought, spending 36 days and nights with your quite big character of father brings with it its own challenges, for sure. But luckily, I was on the path for the most part. And my two little dogs, Sid the Whippet and Winston the Jug, walked with me for most of the time, apart from when they got little sore paws. So this walk was supposed to be grueling, hard, head down, go, punishing. And again, no plans for contact with the enemy. It was quite the opposite. And I met and I engaged with so many people. For instance, Ian and Ginny there. They were the first couple that I met just outside Minehead. And they were planting, as I spoke to them, they were planting seeds for our soldiers, but they also told me that they had lost their son to a car crash the year before. And so they felt what it was to bury a child and to lose a child, like the parents of our soldiers. So that was really incredibly intimate moment, and that was to be the sort of the course of the walk. And then Ken and Linda from Melbourne, they came over to our little island to walk the Southwest Coast Path. And Ken was actually a GP, and he had lost a patient to the conflict in Afghanistan. And that made me realize as well, I thought, crikey, we're so sort of bombarded with our media saying how it's affecting us, but it's not. It's having such a wider reach, this conflict, and so much suffering. So that's me planting a sunflower seed. And my friends Ellie and Miles asked me to plant this sunflower seed for Miles's cousin Conrad, who was killed in action by a sniper. And that's just where they used to like to go together. So that was what I wanted as well. I wanted a lot of engagement with the people that were following and my friends as well. And Martin here, he was a head teacher in Cornwall, and he had lost two pupils as well. So it was really far-reaching. There was one person that I met, actually, and I was talking to him, and he wouldn't plant a sunflower seed. And I was just like, what? Why? And he said, I don't believe in war. And I thought to myself, well, mate, I don't think many people believe in war, but that's not the point of this. This is to remember and thank the people, that unfortunately, or by choice, fight for us and fight for our choices, and pay for it. So that, I'll be honest, that really pissed me off, actually. But anyway, I was too shocked, and I couldn't think of anything remotely smart or intelligent to say to him, so I just walked off. But I had a phone call during my walk from a great friend of mine, Rob. At the time, he was a serving Royal Marine reservist. And he said to me, right, Jane, you've got to go to the Williams Arms in Chivenor tonight. And I was just like, great, sort of just walked 20 miles. It's kind of not what I feel like doing. But he was like, no, you've got to go, because there's a former Royal Marine there, and he is walking from John O'Groats to Land's End, and he's going to be in Chivenor tonight. So I was like, okay. So 20 miles, it'd been raining as well. I looked a little dishevelled, walked into the pub, hands on the bar, where's Taff? Blank, barman, blank. But I heard a little voice, a little lady's voice, Zimbabwean accent. She said, looking for Taff? And I turned around, and there's lads in green. And I was like, right, yeah, got the right place. And it was the Padre from Commando Logistic Regiment, and the welfare team, the Royal Marine welfare team. And they took me in, and they fed me warm tea. They couldn't get me chips because the kitchen had closed. But that was going to be the beginning of the next 10 days, when I was taken in by the Royal Marines as a result of walking with Taff there. So those next 10 days from Barnstaple to Land's End, and ladies, I'm sure you can well imagine, and some gentlemen, that was an absolute pleasure to to walk with, I think, probably 30-odd Royal Marines. It was okay. There I am again with Royal Marines. Yeah. But joking aside, all of these men, serving and retired Royal Marines, would take a knee. And they would take a knee and they would plant a sunflower seed for one of their fallen or wounded comrades. And they would, they'd plant it, and one of the sort of mantras of the Royal Marines is cheerfulness in the face of adversity. And behind their laughs and their jokes about these men that they were talking about, you could really see in their eyes sort of the heartache. And I could only imagine sort of what those men must have seen and done, and how it must have felt to lose a friend in battle, or see a friend be sort of blown up and an arm over there and a leg over there. And really, that was sort of the beginning of my drive to sort of continue to support our troops in the best way that I can. And that's it. I'm done.